I want to welcome in now a very special guest, Josh Bean from AL.com. He's with us every Friday night, starting this Friday on the HSA Scoreboard Show. Look forward to another great year with you, Josh. How's it going?
Doing great tonight. Glad to be with you guys.
Couple of things. First of all, big stuff going down in Montgomery today regarding the HSA and, of course, the impending Champions Challenge. What was your big takeaway from the events that transpired today?
Yeah, I mean, this will be interesting. Champions Challenge is this week, and I think it's particularly, I think it's noteworthy that, all three of these games, the Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night games, these are all regular season games. In the past, last couple of years, some of them have been basically jamboree exhibitions. Some of them have been real games, but all three of these are real. They count the standings, so that means Hoover and Central and Demopolis and all these teams, a loss means a real loss. So I think that ramps up at least for me, it ramps up the interest factor in those games.
I thought it was a very interesting announcement today about the amount of money that the HSA is going to spend to investigate all these transfers. Can you tell everybody what that's about?
Yeah, so back earlier this year, Steve Savarese, the executive director of the HSA, asked the Central Board for authorization to create an investigations team. And, so he was given the ability to put that together. That's been done now. At today's Media Day event, which they do every year in Montgomery, Coach Savarese talked about this team a little bit, and it's funny you say that the announcement, but that was one of the questions that I had was how much is this going to cost? So he actually disclosed that when I asked him the question, how much have you guys budgeted for this?
Okay.
And this next year they budgeted $100,000 for it. So I think that points really to the seriousness of how important they feel this investigations team is. In the past, when there's been an investigation that needed to be conducted, their staff did it. But let's be honest, they have a really small staff, and most of those people are not trained investigators. And so, Coach Savarese's point when he went to the Central Board was, hey, let's have some people that this is their area of expertise, and that they can do this in a comprehensive professional manner. So that's what they're doing. But I do think that when you look at spending that much money, it certainly speaks to how seriously they're taking this particular subject.
Josh, one thing that you do a fantastic job of is just not throwing out the average run-of-the-mill articles. You delve deep into some interesting questions, and your latest is who needs to win now? 8 high school coaches facing immediate pressure. And, man, if people will go read this list, they will see some incredibly familiar names, maybe not from high school coaching days, but from college playing days in the state of Alabama, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, when I put together this list, you start looking, okay, who are some of these, who are some of the coaches that are notable at their new places? And, as you mentioned, you look at a guy like Andrew Zhao. Everybody remembers him when he played quarterback at Alabama. He had a great season at Montevallo last year, led them to 9 victories. And now he's at Calera, which really isn't that far away, but it's a new spot for him, And Wyatt McKellar did a great job in his 5 years at Calera. They had back-to-back 10-win seasons. So that's a program that's developed a reputation for winning. And, that I'm sure they expect Andrew Zhao to come in there and not skip a beat. So that ramps up the pressure, Anytime there's a new coach there, look, everybody wants to win. Everybody knows that. But there are some places where a new coach, there's immediate pressure to win, and I think he's one of those guys this year.
And then, of course, Kenny King is on that list as well. There is Lee Gibson, who's moved over to Leeds. And then Andrew Thomas at T.R. Miller. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. No doubt he's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, look, T.R. Miller, they've got a string of, I think it's over 30, I think, playoff appearances in a row. And, Jamie Riggs, let's be honest, if they haven't already started the paperwork, Bruton Municipal Stadium should be renamed Jamie Riggs Stadium. There's no question about that. So, and that guy's still in town. It's not like it's in a situation where Jamie Riggs took another job. He's still living there, so that shadow is going to be there for whomever the new coach is. And, what's the old saying is you might not want to be the person who follows the legend. You want to be the person who follows the person who followed the legend. And so, that's a place where you got to win and win quickly. A friend of mine pointed out to me earlier this summer that Jamie Riggs lost his first 3 games when he got the job at T.R. Miller, and which is true. I actually went back and checked it, but I'm not sure that if a new coach does that, if he's going to get the same leash that maybe Jamie did.
Champions Challenge, we touched on it a little bit earlier. What is the most intriguing game of the 3, and are you as ecstatic as I am that all 3 games are actually going to count towards the regular season?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that's the way it should be. I think that was the intention of this when Dan Washburn first came up with the idea, was these were going to be, the season opening kickoff, and they would be real games. So, yeah, I think that's a fantastic development. But, I mean, the Hoover Central game, I think, is the one that we're all looking forward to. I think last year we thought, and we almost had it. There was both those teams were semifinalists last year. They could have played each other in the 7A championship game. I've talked to Josh Nibble. I talked to him again today. I talked to him over the summer a couple of times, and he's really excited about this Hoover team. I mean, look, we all know the history of that program. They're hungry to win, and to sort of set things right. I say set things right. Lots of schools, if you can make it to the semifinals, they want to build a statue to the coach, and Hoover does it, and people act like the sky's falling. So that's a great program. Central, of course, Jamie DuBose is there, and they feel like they have a chance to win the whole thing this year. They think they've got a real bona fide shot at it. Markel Benton is back at linebacker for them, the Alabama commit. Justin Ross is just a junior at receiver. He might be the best or the top prospect in the state for the class of 2018. So there'll be a bunch of players on the field in that one, but those are 2 really good teams, and they'll both get a chance to maybe check and see how good they can be come early December.
I don't think I'm surprising anybody here, but it looks like LeBryan Ray will be the #1 player on the AL.com list. What are your thoughts on him, as that should be announced very shortly?
Yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic player. I mean, and the truth is, this time last year, people knew about him, but he was just another intriguing prospect. But he played extremely well during the season last year. He proved himself to be a dominant player. And then when he went to the U.S. Army Combine in January, where he was surrounded by some other elite players in this class, he really showed his explosiveness there. So, sometimes you see a guy who does great in a camp or a combine, or you see a guy who's really productive in a high school game. He's done both already. He's also surrounded by some really good players. Monty Rice at linebacker is a really good prospect. Tyreek McDonald, their defensive back, is committed to Alabama. So teams won't be able to just say, okay, when we scheme, we got to scheme around this one guy. That James Clemens defense is loaded with a bunch of players, and up front, he demands a double team pretty much all the time. He's a dominant player, and I think that he may, to me, he's just sort of scratching the surface. I think he has a chance to be a better college player than he is a high school player.
Well, Josh, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Really do appreciate it. Can't wait to have you on the show Friday night, and maybe I'll see you over at Crampton Bowl on Thursday.
I won't be there. I wish I could be there on Thursday. I won't be there, but I hope you have a good time seeing Brian Robinson and that Hillcrest team play Demopolis. But thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, buddy. We'll have you on again soon.
Thanks a million.